Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. Welcome to a special album review slash old head reacts. It's a little bit of both. It's like a combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. Only today, you don't have to go to two different counters. I'm just going to bring you a little bit of both. Today, I'm going to be reviewing slash reacting to the new album from Korn, which is called The Nothing. So today is going to be a little bit different because I'm not really a Korn fan. Over the years, I have enjoyed many of their songs and still do today, but I would not consider myself a fan. So what happened recently was they announced their new album called The Nothing, and then they started slowly releasing songs. First song they released was called You'll Never Find Me, and I listened to it and I thought to myself, this is pretty fucking good. And then a little bit later, they released another song called Cold, and I was like, this is also pretty fucking good. And then last but not least, there was another one called Can You Hear Me that came out, and same fucking thing. I was like, this is pretty fucking good. So you know what? I think I need to review this album. But today, what we're going to do, instead of me giving you a little bit of background on the band and doing my research and shit, no, there's none of that. Korn was formed in 1990 whatever. They released whatever albums, whatever form of the band is around now. I don't know who's in it, and I don't really care, because what I'm going to do today is I'm literally going to go right now and listen to the album. I haven't heard it yet. And then as soon as I'm done listening to it, I'm going to run right back here and give you my reaction slash review of the new Korn album. So I need you guys just to wait here, and then I'll be back as soon as the album's over, and I'll let you know what I think, all right? Okay, stay there. All right, cool, you're still here. So, I've got notes. My long story short reaction, I liked it. So let's break down the experience of listening to this new Korn album. So it begins with an intro with, some bagpipes, which I guess Jonathan Davis is known for playing the bagpipes, so that's kind of cool to throw them in there. And then this really fucking heavy-ass bass comes in. It's a very cool intro, actually, because most of the time, intros to me are kind of like, what's the point? Get to the meat. But this is a really cool intro, and it leads into the song Cold, which is great because it's got this fucking heavy-ass verses, and then it goes into a very melodic chorus, which I guess Korn and bands like that are kind of known for, but it's really well done. Same thing for the next song, You'll Never Find Me, which that's just a really fucking well-written song. But I had already heard those two songs, so then we get to the shit that I hadn't heard. So luckily for me, the next song, which is called The Darkness is Revealing, is also really fucking good. And the thing that I like about this song and a couple others on the album is it begins with a very normal sounding Korn thing. Like going from You'll Never Find Me to this, it was like, okay, this seems similar. And then they sort of switch up the rhythms on you, and that keeps me interested the whole time. Also, sure, they do this thing that I don't normally like, where you have to have a catchy melodic chorus in the song, but every single time there was something about it that was a fucking really good hook. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. If you can win me over with something in the chorus, then I'm usually pretty good for the song. Also, it has to be said that this album overall sounds like Korn. So if you're a Korn fan, you're probably going to really fucking dig this album. If you're not, I don't know for sure, because I'm not really sure why all of a sudden I'm connecting with this sound. Because there's older shit that I still listen to and go, I don't know, it's okay, I guess. But for some reason, the sound of this album is it's pretty fucking good. It kind of transports me back to, the late 90s, but without sounding kind of like rehashed. It sounds pretty modern. So anyway, so we move on. The song Idiosyncrasy, that's pretty heavy song, but also it also brings in this element, which I don't know if Jonathan Davis has been doing this a lot, but occasionally there's actual like death metal style vocals on here where he's growling like really deep. And I think that's pretty interesting. Obviously, he's been a dude that he does kind of whatever he wants to vocally, and I kind of dig that. But it was interesting to hear that because as a casual Korn listener, I'd never heard that before, so I thought that was kind of cool. But I think the most interesting thing to point out about Jonathan Davis, and I'm going to keep bringing him up because I feel like he's the captain of the ship here. But the most interesting thing throughout the whole album, you hear Jonathan Davis, and he sounds like Jonathan Davis, but there's something more compelling about 48-year-old Jonathan Davis than there was about 23-year-old Jonathan Davis. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's life experience. Maybe it makes these emotional sort of things he does sound a little more legit. Not that I'm saying his emotions when he was 23 weren't valid, but something about it just sounds like he's a dude that's been through some shit. I mean, in the fucking intro, before the whole album starts, you hear him crying. So he's setting you up for, this is an emotional ride. You know, I'm not some kid anymore. I'm still feeling these things. So, you know, come along with me if you want. And also, occasionally, his voice, it's got this sort of raspy timbre to it now. And sometimes he sounds almost soulful in the shit that he's singing. So the song Finally Free, and very much on kind of a middle section of the song called This Loss, he sounds very soulful, and it's fucking cool. It's great to hear all these different elements coming from him. I can't say enough good things about his performance on this album because he kind of drives this album. The other dudes are amazing. They're a tight band. There are some fucking heavy ass riffs on this and some interesting little guitar parts, and the rhythm section. Do I need to say anything about the rhythm section of Korn? They're tight as fuck. It all sounds good, but it really is the Jonathan Davis show. Let's not, argue about that shit. Also, another important thing to point out is the production of Mr. Nick, I always say this wrong, Raskulinez? I don't fucking know. But I do know his name by looking at it because he's produced albums by Alice in Chains and Rush, and pretty much everything he does is kind of a combination of classic sound and modern sound. He seems like he knows how to make an album sound right there in the middle, so old folks like me don't get all bent out of shape about everything sounds all digital and shit. I think he's pretty good at keeping it right in the middle to keep everybody happy. Let's move on in the album. So the Ringmaster. So that's got a fucking heavy, I almost fell backwards. That's how heavy the fucking riff was. This heavy staccato riff, it's so great. But the interesting thing about this song is somewhere in the middle, there's a little bit of beatboxing. And when it came onto the song, I was like, okay. And it just made me think that, is that an important characteristic of nu metal that you can kind of put any element you want and everyone's just kind of okay with it? It's like, this song's going to have a thrash metal riff and everyone's like, okay. And then this song's going to have death metal vocals on it. Okay. And now we're going to have beatboxing. Okay. So anyway, we get into the later parts of the album, Gravity of Discomfort, Harder. These are all songs that you can pull out the formula. It all kind of sounds Korn-ish. There's nothing extremely surprising. But at that point in the album, if you're still there, you're all in for the Korn experience. And to be fair, I was never bored. I always found something in each song that I found interesting that kept me entertained through the entire fucking album. And honestly, the album ends pretty much right when it should. It's 45 minutes long, and it really gets to a point with one of the last songs where I go, all right, I think I might be done. And it wraps itself up. There's a very emotional little short song at the end that kind of just ties everything together, and then you're done. So really, overall, I don't give scores to albums, but do I recommend listening to this album? Abso-fucking-lutely I do, especially if you are a fan of Korn and bands like that, because it's a fucking solid album. And it's so great that these dudes in their late 40s or whatever are still sounding as I don't know, lively and energetic and interesting as they did back in the day. Yeah, as an older music fan, these things are important to me. Seeing these musicians and artists grow over time and not fading away or becoming boring, just sticking to their guns and doing the shit that they know how to do. And that's what this is. It's a Korn album that is exactly what I think you would want out of a Korn album. And it won over a non-Korn fan like me. So who knows? Maybe I'm going to go get into all the rest of their shit now. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me on this little combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell review that I just did. And yeah, go listen to this Korn record. And also, if you're new to this channel, I have a whole lot of other videos. I talk about a lot of older music, but occasionally there's some new stuff thrown in. So check it out and subscribe and like and tell your friends and your family and coworkers. You spread the word. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon.